Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jen. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. I have quite a few new subscribers, so thank you for that. I hope that you continue to find some inspiration here. I know it's been a while. It's been a busy summer, and I've been trying to get back here for at least 3 weeks now, but just there's always something that jumps in the way. And then I think, oh, if I just finish this project, I can put that in the video and then I'll finish this one and this one. But here we are. I think it's been June, July, August. It's been about 4 months since my last update. So needless to say, I have lots to talk about today. I've got something of everything. I've got some cross stitch as usual. I have sewing, quilting, lots of crochet, which I'll leave till the end. But yeah, that being said, let's get started. So again, welcome back. I hope you had a good summer. Let's see, I actually didn't do a ton of cross stitch over the summer. I did mostly crochet, but I did get a few things finished. Some things I was talking about my last video. So this is Por Favor, and this is Silver Creek Samplers. This was a lot of fun to do, a lot of just, a lot of fill-in stitching. I love the colors, very pretty. Not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might frame it, but it's just kind of been hanging around the basement until I decide what to do with it. So that was the first thing I finished. Then I decided to start, this is called Dreaming of Summer, and it's a pattern by Love Poppet. And I can't remember if they're on Etsy. They might be on Etsy, but they also have their own website, and I believe there's more selection on the website. So Dreaming of Summer, I did change this a little bit. But I really love the colors on this. Everything was just so happy and bright. Now in the original, or in the pattern, the house is charted to be a brown with a white trim, almost looking like a little gingerbread house. It was very cute. And then this motif in the middle was a heart. But I wanted to have mine to be like a sweet little Tudor style cottage in amongst the flowers. So I changed my house to white. And I didn't really care for the heart detail so much, so I just did something else. And but everything else, except for this daisy, was supposed to be white, but because it was next to the White House, I just made it yellow. Other than that, everything is as charted. So I stitched this on a 16 count Aida that I had dyed myself. It is a very light blue. I'm not sure if that picks up in the video or not. Yeah, but this was also a lot of fun to work on. There, can you see that? The little detail of the Queen Anne's lace. Love that, and the honeysuckle. But lovely bright colors. This was a lot of fun to work on outside in the garden. Yeah, there we go. So I think I'm actually going to turn this one into a project bag. I don't have so much space to hang things on the wall. So I was thinking project bag for some, and I might just, I've purchased a couple of scrapbooks, and what I might do is I'll just, lightly stitch these onto a piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and then I can slip them in the sleeves. So then I can still look at them. Because I still want to stitch. I don't want to think, if I have no wall space, then what's the point of stitching? Which I do sometimes think, but I really do still want to stitch. So not everything has to be finished and put in a frame. Okay, Dreaming of Summer. The next thing I finished, and I just fully finished this last week, and this ended up being kind of a disaster. So this is called Strawberry Heart, and it is from this book, which is the Big Book of Cross Stitch Hearts. by Isabelle Acrovautier. You might still be able to find this on Amazon. I'm not sure. Beautiful book. Last year I stitched this poppy one. So this year I stitched the strawberry one. And this is what it looks like. So this was, I don't know, this seemed like a little bit of a challenge to stitch. And I think it was all of the little, these were kind of a pain because I left them off of this one because the fabric was pre-printed. So yeah, I love it, but look what I did. So these are supposed to be the same size. And what I did was the heart template for this one, I used it for this one, but what I didn't do is add a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I just cut this out the same shape as the heart. So that's why it's so much smaller and why it runs so close to the edge. But I mean, there's nothing I could do about it. So I just had to finish it off like this. I think, well, I could stitch it again, but I won't. So I just finished it off in kind of the same way. This is I think it's hem. You used to use it for hemming or to cover up your stitches on a hem. I'm not sure. This is in a box of some sewing things that I got from my grandmother, like this seam binding was. And so this was in the same box. So I just used that and then went through my button stash and picked out some, a vintage button there. And then just a plain one for the back and used the strawberry fabric for the back. So anyway, it's well past strawberry season, obviously, so this will go in the box, in the basement, just temporarily. If you've been here before, I'm in a new location. I've temporarily given up my craft room. Our daughter moved home just for the summer, so I emptied everything out of my craft room so I could turn it into a bedroom for her, but I'd always wanted to paint the walls in there since we moved in a year ago, but there's so much furniture in there, like shelves and just craft stuff. It was always overwhelming. So this was the perfect opportunity. I could empty the room, paint it, put half of it back, and turn it over to her for the couple months that she's here. And then when I do move back in about 6 weeks, everything will be painted and it'll be nice. So that's it for finishes. So what else I've been working on, this is a new start. This is a chart from Owl Forest Embroidery, and it is called Black Roses. So this is what the chart looks like. I have always loved the cathedral in this chart. I'm not so crazy about this. I don't know, what is she, like a Raven Queen or something? Anyway, but I've always loved the cathedral. So I've been watching a lot of French Flosstube just because I'm trying to improve my French. So I came across a couple of channels and they're actually doing a stitch along for this chart. So what made me decide to actually start it was there is a Flosstube called Rose Cocon, and her name is Julia. So all of her videos are in French, obviously, but the thing about the French Flosstubers is they talk about everything for a really long time. So you get to see, their progress and their pictures and their projects. You get a really good look. So Julia started stitching this, but she's making all of her roses pink. And she is using DMC, it's 99. Yeah, it's 99. It took me forever to figure out the number, because it's in French, it's 99. And so I'm like 20, 30. Anyway, I figured it out. So it's DMC 99 is the variegated for my roses, because I absolutely loved that along with the black. So the black that I'm using I think it calls for something like $37.99. It's not DMC 310. So what I wanted to do is stitch this in silk. Now, I've mentioned about Sanjo Silk before, so they're out of Vancouver, and they sell fibers mostly for weaving, but they have the silk. It's the 30-2, and it's about the equivalent of, 2 strands of DMC, and the coverage is perfect, and it's silk, and it's buttery, and it's lovely. So I ordered a hank of this, and this is it's called Graphite. So it's that, very, very dark gray. It's almost black, but it's not really black. But anyway, it is perfect. It's perfect for this. And because you get about 700 meters of this, I have more than enough to do this. I never have to buy another skein of 3799 again, which is okay. So the plan is I'm not going to stitch the whole thing. I want to stitch down to the bottom of the cathedral, and then I'm going to leave her out, and I'll just finish off the stairs. I'll probably, I don't know if I'll stitch this row, but I will take this border and then push it up, and then that's where I will end. So I'll have the pink roses at the top and the pink roses at the bottom. Now, Julia has also taken the very lightest parts of the DMC 99. She's taken the lightest parts and used them in the rose window, which I thought was pretty clever, because the thing with the old DMC variegated flosses are you get very long runs of color. So as I've been cutting mine apart, like I try to get a good mix of the shades of pink in each rose, but sometimes I will end up with just a big section that's just dark red and a big section that's just the light pink. So I've been saving the light pink, and then I'm going to use it in the window as well. So with this one, just like my Jeanne d'Arc sampler that I'm going to show you, I'm trying to do a thread a day. The goal is to do 20 threads per month. So far, I've only ever been able to do 10 in a month over the last 3 or 4 months that I've been doing this. But anyway, it's quick. I think it takes 20 minutes to do that. But doing that too, it just kind of keeps me excited about keeping going. And because I'm using the pink as well, it's, I don't know, not a motivator, but if I get tired of working on the black, then there's usually an area where I can work on the pink. So one day I might be doing only pink as my one strand, and the other day I might just be doing black. So yeah, so far I love it. It's a lot of fun. I'm almost done the first page, and that's pretty exciting. And I'll link Julia's channel below as well. And yeah, here's the DMC, yeah, 99. Very nice. And I ordered mine, DMC 99, I ordered that from his Etsy shop, Millions of Stitches. And they're out of Toronto, I think. And I keep that in my Black Swan bag. So the next project is my, it's Jeanne d'Arc sampler, and this is another monochromatic, and this one I am just doing it in the one color. I don't have a picture, well, I guess I've got 2 parts. So this is from Roland Designs. So here's the first 2 parts, and that's the second 2 parts. This is available on Etsy. Now my copy is from one of the issues of the Gift of Stitching, March 2009. 2008-2009 was when that sampler was printed in the Gift of Stitching. But Roland Designs does have an Etsy store. You can get this on it, and seriously, it's like $4. So pretty darn good. I'm almost done the first page. And I'm stitching this one on a piece of 32 count Lugana, and I'm using the Sanjo silks again, and this I'm using this lovely teal, and this one's called Deep Ocean. There's not a lot of variegation in this floss, but it's so beautiful to work with. And it's going to be quite large. I mean, well, here's my fabric. But here we are. Oh, I can pull that out of there. So again, I'm trying to do 20 threads per month. And yeah, here we are. So I just have to finish the sheep on the bottom and then run the border across, and then I can start part 2. But this is also, you know, a lot of fun to work on. There's a little bit of variegation in there, not too much. And I mean, this project, I don't know when the end date for this will be, since I can't seem to commit to the 20 threads in a month. We'll see, but that's okay, because it's not a seasonal thing. So that is that work in progress. And then I started this summer, this has been stalling though because it's I've been trying to work on fall things. The Sweet Birds Sing. So I'm doing this project. I'm probably, which is this, I don't know if I'm going to make it into a stitch pocket or not, or if I'm just going to turn it into, you know, just hang it up like this. I'm changing the colors. I went through just my box of overdyeds and that kind of thing. And I wanted my birds to be blue, so I just pulled a bunch from my stash and the greens, all different makes and brands, and yeah, so this is where we are. So I'm just trying to finish off the vine here, and then I have to decide what color I want to do the flowers. So I think those are roses. They kind of look like roses. So I could do them, well, I could do them any color that I wanted. I'm thinking, because I'm doing the birds blue, I may do the roses yellow if I can find some nice yellows. I don't want anything too mustardy. I don't want anything too bright. But even if I decide to do pinks and reds, that'll still look nice, I think. But it's been fun to work on. And did I say this was on a 32 count? Usually everything for me is either 32 or 16. So there we have that. Okay, and my last cross stitch work in progress is Halloween. So the last couple years, I've not really been into Halloween that much. I probably last year I started getting into it more, but my children are adults now, so it's just, I don't know, it's not that fun to decorate when it's just my husband and I, and we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters. So yeah, I haven't really been into Halloween so much, but I don't know, this year it just seems to be all that I want to do right now. So Halloween at Cocon Hollow, I've finished this, so I have now moved on to this one. I still need to do the cobweb up there, but I was waiting till the end because it's is it back stitch? I don't want it to get loose. So I'm working on this block here. And I think I started this, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. It's been quite a while. I don't think I pulled it out at all last year. So I'm stitching this on a piece of Aida that I dyed myself, and it's probably 16, and it looks like it's probably a tea coffee dye thing. So here is the first block, and like I said, I still have to do that cobweb there. And then this is the block that I'm working on now. And these are so much fun to work on. Like you'd think I don't know why I don't work on it more, because when I picked it up this time and just working away, it was just a lot of fun. And I think it's because there's a nice balance of color changes, but as well as block stitching. So yeah, you get your fill. You don't feel like you're changing your floss all the time, but you know you get to use more colors. So I don't know if I won't be done this by the end of the month, and after Halloween I'm probably not going to want to stitch Halloween, so I don't know. But it has been a lot of fun to work at, and I have been doing this for the last couple days anyway. Yeah, we'll see. It's hard to talk about plans because I don't know. The whole summer I must have started, I don't know, 8 different things, and I'd put 20 stitches in and then put it away. Just very kind of nothing focused at all. So we'll have to see, because there's like a million projects that I want to do. That's not just cross stitch, there's a whole bunch of other things as well. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so that's it. That's it for my cross stitching. I'm not going to talk a ton about plans just because this is going to be a fairly long video anyway. But I do really, really, really want to start this project. Now, this is an embroidery project, and I'm hoping today or tomorrow, because tomorrow's a holiday. I don't think I mentioned today's October 10th or 12th. Anyway, it's Thanksgiving here in Canada, so hey, happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends. So I'm hoping tomorrow I can trace this out because I'd like to start this next. This is a pattern from Crabapple Hill, who sadly are no longer producing or publishing their patterns. I got this summer after I found out they were going out of business and they were selling all their PDFs for about 70% off. So unfortunately I missed out on a lot of the patterns, but I did get a fair few, so I did okay. Anyway, this was one of them, and I thought this just looks like so much fun. And yeah, I think I'm going to start this. Do a couple modifications, but that'll be the next thing, the next new thing on my needles, I think. And if I can manage to get back here before another 4 months has passed, then hopefully you'll see that too. Okay, so I have some wool applique to show you because around this time of year I always get an itch to do some wool applique. Even though I told myself that when I was just going to be out of my craft room, all I was going to be doing was cross stitching, no quilting, just because it makes a mess and I'm down here in the office, which, you know, I have to share with other people. But yeah, that totally went out the window. I've been doing everything. So wool applique. So this is a pattern. I'll just show it to you. It's just going to be a little hanger. I'll have some like little clips here and I'll put it on a rod. So this is actually not a wool applique pattern. This is a punch needle pattern. This is from Teresa Kogut, and the pattern is in the autumn issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, like the most recent one. So what I did was, I thought it was super cute. I enlarged the chart, and I can't remember by how much, 25 or 50%, I enlarged it. And then I just traced the shapes and cut them out with felt. In the original, the ghost is holding a little flower, but I just thought I'd put a little star there. And yeah, made some little hourglass blocks, miniature ones. Thought that would be fun down the side. I found this really cool batik at my local fabric store, which was sort of the impetus of doing this. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it turned out, and you know, not a ton of stitching. There's only 3 large pieces here. So yeah, it's quite pleased with that. And then it's just backed with that fabric. So I don't think I'll get a chance to do another wool applique this year. Well, certainly not for Halloween or for fall. Yeah, anyway, at least I got one done. So Teresa Kogut, this is a punch needle pattern, punch needle and primitive stitcher magazine, autumn 2025. Yeah, I thought that turned out well. Yeah, I wanted to do some craft sewing. So I was going through my computer files, and you know how you either purchase patterns and you download them, or you get stuff free and then you stick them in your Google Drive or wherever. So I was going through that and I found some super cute things. One of them being this sweet little mouse. So this is a pattern by the Spotted Hare. They have a website, and I purchased this, I think in the spring. I don't know how I found out about this website. Obviously, it must have been another Flosstuber. So this is called the Mouse on a Tuffet. I don't know if it's a pincushion or what, but anyway, isn't he adorable? So also using some wool, some velvetish fabric. Look at his little tail. Isn't he cute? Oh my gosh, I love him so much. So this was fun. This only took a day to do, and I don't mean a full day, but got a little wool leaf there, and then these are wire. It's colored wire. Wool from my stash, and I love his little beady eyes. And then I was so excited, I thought, oh, I could do a white mouse on another color pumpkin, or who knows, maybe he'll have some mousy friends. But also on the website, she has a pattern for 3 pumpkins in a stack, and then the mouse on top. But you need to buy both patterns. You need to buy this pattern and the one for the stacks of 3. But honestly, if you have this one, if you want to make a bigger pumpkin, you just make a bigger circle. And the feather stitch around the side, I wasn't going to do that, but I just thought I'd put on my big girl embroidery pants and do it. And I'm so happy I did, because I think that, I don't know, I think it adds a lot. Super cute. And then the fabric for the mouse is actually, years and years ago, I used to, at the thrift store, buy just anything that was made out of wool. So this was from an old blazer that I bought and ran through the washing machine and cut it all apart into pieces. So yeah, and then that's the bottom, because there's a slit in the bottom. That's how you turn the pumpkin out. So I am just totally thrilled with this. I just think it's absolutely adorable. So again, it's from the Spotted Hare. And I didn't have this fabric, and I was saying to my husband or my daughter, I said, wouldn't it be fun if I could just find a small piece of pumpkin colored velvet at the thrift store? So I went to the thrift store, and wouldn't you know it, I found a cushion cover. And then that got me to thinking, well, because there are other colors there, every time I go, I find a new color. So if you don't have access to the lovely Lady Create velvets and things, well, this is what I'm doing. So these are $3 each, and they're just the cushion covers, 18 by 18 or 20 by 20, whichever size. So over the course of a couple weeks, I've got like a lovely little color selection. So I've got my pumpkins, and I have this lovely mustard. This is a dark bottle green. I know it looks black here. Aqua, and my 2 roses. So I have plenty here for pillow backs and other little tiny things. So I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah, because I certainly don't have any access to those fun velvets and velveteens. And if I do, I have to get it online, and I find I have terrible luck online shopping. I think I'm getting one color, and I end up getting something totally different. So this way I know what I'm getting. There's lots here. Yeah, $3 each. Okay, I guess quilting is next. Despite saying I wasn't going to do much quilting over the summer, I've managed to do a lot of quilting over the summer. So I did make one full-size quilt, but it's already been gifted. I made a quilt for my sister. I did put a picture on my Instagram, which I can link below if you're interested in seeing that. It's a double-sized quilt. I just used reds, creams, taupes, French general fabric, cut into 5-inch squares, sewed them all together, and did that. It turned out pretty nice. So I've also been doing, I wanted to do something fall-ish, and I saw on the Fig Tree Quilts Facebook page, move this over here, on the Fig Tree Facebook page, on Joanna Figueroa's blog, she did like an acorn roundup. So I purchased this pattern. I think it's called Agatha's Oaks. I wasn't sure. I think it would be fun to do a full size, like a wall hanging or a throw, but I wanted to try a block first. So I just did one block and made a topper. Oh, my chair is super squeaky. So this is the topper, Agatha's Oaks. So I just used some of my batiks and William Morris and just other things I had in my stash. At first I was going to do it like bright colors, like in the pattern. She had, you know, orange acorns, a brown stem, the leaves were green, and that's what I was going to do. I had everything, you know, I have some fabric picked out, but then I just started throwing some other fabrics together, and I liked this. It was a little bit quieter, and it turned out okay. So if I want to do the quilt, I can do it in the fun colors. What else can I tell you? So I quilted it myself. I was doing a really fun free motion pattern of oak leaves on here, feeling so good about myself, and then I looked at the back and my tension, like it was just loops and loops and loops on the back, so I had to pull out all the quilting that I had already completed, and then I just decided, hey, we're just gonna do some diagonal lines, which is basically my go-to now for when I'm frustrated or I just want something to be done. I won't even do crosshatch, I'll just do diagonal lines in one direction. Anyway, it all worked out in the end, so I have this upstairs now on our kitchen table since it's Thanksgiving. Thought that worked out. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with it. It wasn't that difficult, to be honest. So yeah, I would recommend that. Oh, there is an error in the pattern, so you do need to go to the errata page. Now I can't remember what the error is, but there is an error. And it's just backed in a plain white. So I'm just trying to use up some of my fabrics, which have been sitting around forever. Then I wanted to do something Halloween-esque, but I didn't want it to be screaming bright orange and black. So I don't have my book. I don't have the pattern book. I found on the free table a little quilting book, and this is the pattern from it. Actually, you know what? I will go get it. It's from this book, Treats No Tricks. It's a Thimbleberries pattern. And it is called Quick Tricks Table Runner. So there is the pattern. So I went through my stash. I didn't, like I said, I didn't want like glaring Halloween. And it's funny, I'll do this a lot. I'll pick fabrics out and I think this is what's going to happen. And then, I don't know, I'll just be throwing fabrics around and things land together and they just go together really well. So this is my table runner, or this is half of it. So I have this lovely kind of cheddar fabric sitting around, and I thought that would look really nice with some soft black and cream fabric. And then I have a bunch of this left over, and it had all the colors in it, so I put that on there. So it's Halloween, it's Halloween-ish, which is exactly what I wanted. So it's quite a decent size. So there are 3. There we go. So this actually fits on my table. So after the turkey has been eaten, I will remove the acorn topper and I'll put this on my table. And it's just back to that. So yeah, just trying to use up some fabrics that I have, but I'm quite pleased with how this turned out. And I did my own quilting on it, just trying to do different little bit orange peel design here. I think that's just crosshatch quilting. But yeah, just trying to do a couple of different things. So I'm actually quite pleased at how that one turned out. Almost exactly what I was thinking about. And then my last finished quilt project, I started this last year. I think that's my last. I started this last year. I believe the pattern is from A Quilting Life, and it's the spools and mini spools. But I wanted to do a Halloween version. So I did all the blocks last year, and then this year I added the border and the cornerstones and and I finished it this year. So I think these were from a charm pack, and I think this is what was left over from a charm pack from another project. I don't know if I can show everything. So yeah, I just picked out the oranges, orange, black, and grays. So this will, it's just a wall hanging size. Obviously I didn't make the whole quilt. Yeah. And then these, what's in the corner, so these were leftovers from the wool applique. So I just bordered them to make them the proper size, and yeah, happy with how that turned out. So this will be, I'll hang this up in my craft room next year for Halloween. So this was another project that I wasn't anticipating getting finished this year, but I did. So that's always nice to do that. And if I'm going to do anything that's not like a quilt on the bed, I stitch the binding down by machine. Like, I don't do the greatest of jobs, but it doesn't need to be hand bound, I don't think, for those kind of projects. And this is a sheet which has also been a backing for another quilt. Yeah, just like I said, trying to use up some stuff in my stash. I'm trying to make a 5-year plan to go through all that stuff, because a lot of that fabric is older than 5 years anyway. I don't think we'll be moving in 5 years, but at the same time, let's say we were, fabric is heavy and I don't want to move it again. So let's see, what else have I been sewing? Hold on. The other thing that my other finished project is, this is just a project bag. So I had these 2 packs of these mini charms. I can't remember what the line was, but let's call it Liberty-esque. It's not Liberty fabric, but it sort of has that same vibe to it. So I just pieced them all together, made a giant rectangle, and then I have this. This is one side of the doily, which was probably a very small, it could have been a tray cloth or like a dresser topper. So the other side is damaged. So I thought I would cut that off, use it there, and it's just another project bag for cross stitch. And then for my works in progress for quilting. So I am working on the swoon quilt. I plan on having 20 blocks, so I call mine the Swoon 20. I'm using Lori Holt fabrics, and these are the ones I've completed most recently, but these require a lot of concentration. So I found I was making so many mistakes that I've actually just put this in timeout for a bit, and I think I'll pick it up again in the winter. This next group are my favorite, these next 3, the greens and the blues. The first set was like pinks and yellows, and I don't know, it's just a little bit too candyish for me, but I'm hoping that once everything's together, then it'll all go together. So that's what I have so far. So I have, let's see, 3, 6, 7, 7 of 20 completed. But that'll be a good winter project. But yeah, I really have to concentrate on that because it seems like every time I pick it up, like if I go to a retreat or if I'm stitching with my friend, because I'm talking, I'm not paying attention, I'm sewing the wrong things together and cutting them in half, and yeah, it's just been a disaster. So this summer I also started on a quilt for my husband. So this will be a Christmas gift, and it's just going to be like a throw size, and I'm going to back it in flannel. So when I was going through my fabric this summer and just, you know, doing a bit of purging, I found this layer cake that I didn't buy. So I'm pretty sure this came from my friend Deb. Cute. I think they're almost Civil War reproduction fabrics. So I decided to use these. So this is called X quilt. So I think there were 36 squares in this layer cake, and then my friend gave me some squares to supplement, so there will be 42 squares altogether, and this is the pattern. So I decided to make all the all the diagonal pieces the same fabric. So in the pattern they're all different. And do I have the pattern? This is a free pattern. So I'm guessing it's on the Andover Fabrics website. So yeah, so there's just, you know, a few, and I think I've got 4 more to do. Lots of browns. And then love this one. And then wait, there are actually some pinks and purples in here, which, I mean, well, here's a nice and lovely yellow. And, you know, there's a purple, but try to mix it with a brown to sort of, you know, tone it down. It is for my husband. Yeah, so this has been fun to work on. Oh, this is, I don't know about this one, but I don't have a, I don't have a spare or a substitute for that one. So anyway, it's been fun. This is super fast. I mean, super, super fast. You just have to be careful because you're sewing with triangles, not to stretch, because you're sewing on the bias. So just not to stretch it too much. But I have, what did I say, 4 more blocks to do, and then I can start piecing those together. I don't think I'm going to do a border or anything. It's just this and backing. And I'm going to get a nice cozy flannel if I can find one that I like. And yeah, so that should be done well before Christmas. I'm going to a quilting retreat with hosted by my guild next weekend. So I'll be able to finish that and probably get the whole top put together. Another thing I am working on is a fall quilt. So this is called Farmhouse Fall by Erica Arndt, and I can't find the cover page. So I am making mine throw size or wall hanging size. So I'm essentially taking, I think, 1 layer of blocks off. So it's pumpkin blocks and leaf blocks, and then there's sashing in between, sashing and cornerstones. A couple years ago, I purchased a fat 1/8 bundle of the cinnamon and cream fabric line, and this is what I'm using it for. So the pumpkin blocks, there'll be 5 pumpkin blocks. They're all the same. So I've completed all of those, and that's what they look like, and they were lots of fun to put together. It's more fun to sew it together than it was to cut out, which is usually, I think, for me anyway. So I have 5 of these. Actually, I made 6 because I'm going to turn 1 into a project bag, because I see all of these floss tubers with cute little quilted pumpkin bags, and I want one too. So I'm going to use one for that. And then the leaf blocks will look like this. So using the same fabric line, I need to make 4 of these. So I got one fully completed. I have all the leaves except for the orange ones completed, and that'll be done tomorrow. So that's also another project that I can work on at the quilting retreat in a couple weeks. And I know I wasn't going to talk about plants, but another thing I'd like to do, now I'm probably not going to get time to start this year because it's almost October, but I wanted to make a quilt with crows on it. And it's probably because so many people are working on the Raven quilt right now from Blackbird Designs, which I had that book and I can't find it. So I'm either in the move, like storing my stuff from my craft room down into the basement. I've either tucked it somewhere else, or I actually got rid of it when we moved households because I probably thought there's way too much applique in here. I'm not going to do it. I hope it's just somewhere in the basement. But anyway, so I was looking at patterns for crows. So I found this one. So this is a free pattern. Wyndham Fabrics. So it must be, I guess there's a Wyndham Fabrics website. Anyway, so I got this. I love the crows in this one because they're quite dynamic in movement. So this one is all done in batik, so blacks and grays, and I don't really care for that, but I like the idea of the batiks for the birds. So actually that's why I bought the black batik that I ended up using for my Halloween wool applique, but I have lots left. So I thought that would be fun to do that. But I also really love this quilt pattern. So I haven't purchased this. I just printed off the, I just took a screenshot of the cover page and printed it off. I really like this one too because I like the colorful things in it. So I'm just deciding what I want to do. If I'm going to purchase this and make it, or do this one and instead of these blocks just do find a log cabin block that will be the same size. So I still have fabric left over from my leaf quilt last year, and it's lovely fall colors. There's plums and mustards, pinks, blues. I thought that would be really pretty. And I think this one I would just make it to hang on the wall or be lap size. Because when you come in my house, like right to the right is usually where I hang a quilt because there's a large space there. But I thought that would be really sweet. So still deciding on that one. Yeah, I really don't know. I think I'm going to make one block of this one, like one of the crow blocks, and just see how challenging it is, because there's actually templates for it that are, and not just triangles. You know, what's a four-sided irregular shape? I can't remember. Sorry, math, but it's got those, so that might be a little fiddly. It's kind of more of an old-fashioned quilt pattern. So that's what I would like to do, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I actually won't get a chance to finish that because Thanksgiving is today. And then after that, I'll be thinking more about Halloween. And then once that's over, it's going to be, you know, Christmas all the way. So yeah. So despite not wanting to do a lot of quilting, I have done a lot of quilting. So the other thing that I've been doing a lot of is crochet. It was crochet summer. So Christmas in July was just nothing happened. A couple of pot holders and that was it. So I think I said last time that I had, you know, a pretty big stash of dishcloth cotton, and I wanted to go through it because the bin was full. I almost couldn't close the drawer. And I said it's going to be pot holder summer, and I wasn't kidding. So prepare yourself. These are the pot holders that I made this summer. I've given away two. Yeah, I've given away two. I'm keeping about half of these. The other half are just going to be, I don't know. People are just going to be getting pot holders, whether they want them or not. So let's start with, okay, So if I could, I would try to do a back as well. I mean, a lot of pot holders aren't the double thickness, but I thought if I do the double thickness, I can get rid of the yarn. And it's pretty good because, for instance, this used up most of this yarn. This one was a pattern I kind of made up myself. It's not the greatest, but it's cute. I mean, it'll be fun in the kitchen. Now, as soon as these start to get grungy, they're going in the recycle bin. Because I have so many, I don't want to keep them around forever. This was a pattern, I can't remember the name of it. It's from Cherry Heart. It's actually, she does have this square as a blanket square, and then she turns some into pot holders. I found this to be a real challenge, so I don't know if I'm going to make a blanket with the square, which was my original intention. I don't know what it was. It was just the wording on how to do these little cluster stitches. It just bent my brain, and this wasn't fun at all. But I thought, you know, I wanted to have a Tudor rose in my kitchen, so that's why I tried this one. It's just a plain back. Yeah, so that's actually kind of a good way to just do a tester of a square is just make a pot holder and see if you're going to enjoy it or not. This is a strawberry granny square. I've made a couple sachets out of these. These are a little bit of a challenge as well. I don't know that I'm going to do any more, but I mean, gosh, they're so much fun. Like how cute those are. So I'm keeping this one, and then I decided, like, hey, I don't have to do a solid back on everything because I was starting to run out of white and cream. So yeah, that's fun. I did 2 of these pie ones. So this was the first one, and I used the variegated cotton. Just a plain back there. So that was fun. Lots of cluster stitches, and I was running out of this tan color, so for the next one I could only get the back done, but I had this speckled cotton. This one, I love this one. So this is my blueberry pie. This was a pattern on Etsy. This was also a pattern on Etsy. I wouldn't make this again. And I did make a back for it. I can't remember if that was in the pattern or not. It's cute. I didn't put hanger on it, so actually I should use this today. Yeah, I mean, I had to use up the bright orange. This is just a reversible granny square one, nice and big. Then this pattern I made 5 times. So, and it was just fun to, you know, just like experiment with colors. So we have this guy and this guy. So I'm keeping those ones. And we have peach and cream. I had so much aqua yarn. It was nuts. And pink. And I don't even really like pink anymore. I've always wanted to try one of these. I think it's just called a Celtic weave, where you make 5, is it 5? Anyway, you make a bunch of circles and then you make a long thing and like a circle, but you don't join it, and you weave it in amongst there, so it's just single-sided. I mean, it's kind of neat looking, and then you make a border for it, join everything together. So it's kind of fun, and I mean, I always wanted to try it, and I did. I'm not going to do it again, but at least I tried. Here's a big rose. This got rid of a lot of pink, which was great, and it's super, I mean, it's super thick. Then I made a succulent to get rid of some green. The only thing about this is like you can't put a hanger on it because it curls. So it's really just sit it on the counter, but it's also nice and thick. Again, I wouldn't make this one again either because it's very tedious with all you just going around and around and around making these points. And then I made 3 of these. So I made 3 of these for my sister for her birthday, and then those are gone. So it's just a set, and these are like, I think they're vintage pot holders by My Rose Valley on Etsy. So you just take 3 colors of yarn, and they all have a different pattern. There's one of these I don't like making, and I think it's this one. But yeah, so after doing all that, I still had some cotton left over, and I was really running out of ideas of what I wanted to do. So I was at my weekly, I call it yarn club, it's a knit crochet club. There was a new member there, a young man who does a lot of spinning and weaving. So he was mentioning that he was going to be on the lookout for some dish cotton, you know, the thrift stores and stuff. He just needed a bunch of random stuff. And I said, you know what? I can help you out. So I just took whatever was left in my stash and I gave it to him, and now I don't have to worry about it. And then he can make something beautiful with that. So yeah, potholder summer, and I don't need to make any potholders for a while. But anyway, it was fun. I also made, this was a gift for my daughter for her birthday. It's just, these are coasters. So I was hoping to find, anyway, so this is what you do. You make as many of these as you want, 4, I guess. And then you stuff them in a bowl. I was hoping to find a cute little wooden bowl, but of course, because I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. So I just found this little plant pot and stick those in there. And then it looks like you have a little crochet plant on your end table, but you've got 4 coasters. So that was fun. And again, like, this is all stash. So it was cute. And I made this little owl. He just needs a bow tie or something. This is called the Amy Owl, and it's a pattern from MJ's Off the Hook Design. So you can purchase this, or you can get it off the blog post. Yeah, I just used the blog post, but like in hindsight, I should have just bought the pattern because there's so much less scrolling back and forth. But isn't he cute? Oh, that is so sweet. So I used 2 strands of this. I found this at the thrift store. So there were 3 brand new skeins of this at the thrift store. So I just took 2 of them and I held them together because it calls for a bulky yarn, and that's a number 4 weight. And then I got this sort of interesting effect. So he's very cute, very quick to make up. For some reason I had to make these wings. I had to make 4 because the 3 were not working. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I have a little bit of gravel in the bottom so he doesn't tip over. And yeah, my cute little owl and my fall decorations. And the very last thing, oh, this has been an hour, but then I will be finished. So the last thing is this scarf that I'm wearing. This is called the Plot Thickens scarf, and it's a CJ Brady design. So I really enjoy her patterns. It's got a lovely little texture to it. Super quick to make. Like, this is like a couple days worth of stuff. And when you stitch this scarf, you actually you stitch the border stitches in with it too. So when you're done, you're done. You have 2 ends to weave in. I find with these patterns, I usually do less increases because I find I often run out of yarn. So I usually do kind of 1 less repeat for the increase section, and then I always have enough left for the decrease section. This yarn, I bought this at the Twist Fiber Festival this summer. So that's a festival that's in Quebec every year. My daughter and I went over there, and I wanted to get like a souvenir yarn, and I knew I saw this color and it just stayed in my head. I thought, okay, that's what I want. So then unfortunately I went color over comfort because this is a little bit scratchy. I love the color, this nice purple, but it is a little bit scratchy. So I mean, I'm hoping it'll soften up. We'll see. So the yarn is by Natalie Picard, and I mean, it's just a sock yarn, and this was a one of a kind. She called it Violine, but it's 80 merino, 20% nylon. Yeah, so this is my little souvenir from the Twist Fiber Festival. Nice fun day out with my daughter. And that, my friends, is that. And that was a lot. That is over an hour of chatting about crafts. And I really hope to be back much sooner next time, even if I only have 2 things to show. It just saves a lot of work. I know I've forgotten about a million things and probably people I should have credited with stuff, and I apologize. But this is already like double the amount of time that I like to be on here. So I'm not going to waffle. I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found something here that you thought was fun, or you want to try something. I will be putting links below. Again, I want to wish all my Canadian friends a happy Thanksgiving. I hope it's beautiful where you are. It's beautiful where I am. So we plan on enjoying the day. And until next time, happy crafting. Take care. Happy days, friends.